Greetings, dear subscribers and casual listeners of my channel. Have you ever thought about what made Bellatrix Lestrange so insanely devoted and terrifying? What if her madness had a logical explanation rooted in deep psychological wounds? In today's video, you will find out the shocking truth behind her descent into darkness. The world of Harry Potter is filled with unforgettable characters. Some are noble heroes, others complex and layered, and then there are those who leave a lasting impression as villains. Bellatrix Lestrange was not just another Death Eater. She was Voldemort's most fanatical follower, a witch whose very presence radiated chaos. Played brilliantly by Helena Bonham Carter in the films, Bellatrix was more than just a servant of the Dark Lord. She was a force of destruction, a zealot who sometimes even outmatched Voldemort himself in her ruthlessness. But why was she like that? What made her so erratic, so violent, so completely unhinged? Let's dive into her past and uncover the truth. Born into the prestigious House of Black, Bellatrix was raised with a deep sense of superiority. Her family saw themselves as pure-blood aristocracy, looking down on Muggleborns and even other wizards who didn't share their beliefs. From childhood, she was taught that power and bloodline mattered above all else. At Hogwarts, she was sorted into Slytherin, where she mingled with future Death Eaters like Lucius Malfoy. But while others hesitated, Bellatrix embraced Voldemort's ideology without question. She didn't just follow him, she worshipped him. Her loyalty knew no limits. She tortured Neville Longbottom's parents into insanity, never betrayed Voldemort even in Azkaban, and returned to his side the moment she escaped. Until her final breath in the Battle of Hogwarts, she remained his most dangerous enforcer. But what truly made her this way? Some believe it was Azkaban. Years spent in the wizarding prison, surrounded by Dementors, could have shattered what little sanity she had left. The constant exposure to despair and darkness might have turned her into something even more monstrous than before. Others point to unrequited love. Yes, Bellatrix was obsessed with Voldemort, not just as a leader, but as a man. While she was married to another Death Eater, it was Voldemort she truly loved. But he was incapable of love, and her desperate need to prove herself to him only drove her deeper into madness. She committed atrocities, hoping to earn his approval, but all she ever received was cold indifference. There's even a controversial theory that Bellatrix bore Voldemort's child, Delphi, as introduced in The Cursed Child. But whether or not that's canon remains up for debate. One thing is certain: Bellatrix Lestrange was not just a villain, she was a tragic figure consumed by devotion, madness, and a desperate need for validation. And that perhaps is what makes her one of the most chilling characters in the Harry Potter universe. Raised in a family obsessed with blood purity, Bellatrix Lestrange was never meant to be ordinary. From an early age, she was surrounded by the ideology that pure-blood wizards were superior, that their magic was stronger, their lineage untouchable. It wasn't just arrogance, it was doctrine, drilled into her mind like an unshakable truth. But while many of her relatives clung to these beliefs in a quiet, dignified way, Bellatrix took it to an extreme. She wasn't just proud of her heritage, she was willing to destroy anyone who threatened it. At Hogwarts, she quickly became known for her cunning, talent, and unpredictability. Even among the Slytherins, she stood out. There was an intensity about her, a fire in her eyes that made people uneasy. She was gifted, no doubt, excelling in the dark arts from a young age. While other students treated spells as tools, she saw them as weapons. There was something exhilarating about bending magic to her will, about pushing it to its limits. Then came Voldemort. When Bellatrix first met him, she wasn't just drawn to his power, she was consumed by it. Here was a wizard who spoke the words she had always wanted to hear. He wasn't just advocating for the dominance of purebloods. He was ready to make it happen. Others followed him out of fear or ambition. Bellatrix followed him out of love, not love in the way most people understand it. It was something darker, something obsessive. She didn't want his affection. She wanted his approval, his recognition. She wanted to be the one he trusted above all others. Her descent into madness didn't happen overnight. At first, she was just another devoted follower, but devotion turned into fanaticism. She wasn't satisfied with just serving the Dark Lord. She needed to prove herself to him. Every spell, every act of cruelty, every life taken, it was all in pursuit of his validation. And the more she did, the more reckless she became. The torture of the Longbottoms was a turning point. Others hesitated, but Bellatrix didn't. She relished the pain she inflicted, convinced that it was justified. In her mind, she was doing what needed to be done. But what she didn't realize was that in proving her loyalty, she was also losing herself. Azkaban changed her. The moment she was locked away, surrounded by Dementors, she should have broken. Most did. But not Bellatrix. She refused to succumb to despair. If anything, it strengthened her resolve. She clung to the thought of Voldemort's return, repeating his name like a prayer. While other prisoners wasted away, she grew colder, sharper. The madness that had always lingered beneath the surface took hold completely. When she finally escaped, she wasn't just loyal, she was fanatical. There was no room for hesitation, no space for weakness. The world outside had changed, but she had not. If anything, she was more dangerous than ever. She fought not for power, not for status, but for Voldemort himself. Her relationship with her family had long since fractured. She despised her sister Andromeda for marrying a Muggle-born. She saw Narcissa's love for Draco as a weakness. Even among the Death Eaters, she was feared. There was something unhinged about her, something unpredictable. While others plotted and schemed, Bellatrix acted. Her obsession with Voldemort was the one thing that remained constant. Even as he dismissed her, even as he used her without a second thought, she never wavered. In her eyes, he was more than a leader. He was a god. And if he had asked her to die for him, she would have done so without hesitation. Her downfall was inevitable. In the Battle of Hogwarts, she fought like a woman possessed. She had nothing to lose, nothing to fear. When she faced Molly Weasley, she underestimated her. Bellatrix had always looked down on those who fought for love rather than power. But in the end, it was love that defeated her. Her story is one of tragedy as much as it is of villainy. She was brilliant, skilled, powerful. But she was also lost, trapped in a cycle of devotion and destruction. Had things been different, had she not been raised in a world of prejudice, had she not crossed paths with Voldemort, who would she have become? Would she still have been ruthless, still drawn to the dark arts? Or was she always meant to walk the path she did? Even in death, Bellatrix remains unforgettable. She wasn't just another Death Eater. She was a force of chaos, a symbol of unshakable loyalty.